Well, good morning everyone, this is Travalgar Valentine. How's it going today? Today I thought we'd do something a bit different, maybe do like a church drawing, building of a church, you know, with a ballpoint pen and a pencil, and I'm using a straight edge from a protractor. I just like this because it's small and handy. So I've just done a few blocks here, just to get the outline of where I want some of the structure to go. So it's just a cube with a little triangle on top. And then I've come up here with a steeple. You'll be able to see more of it when I go into pen and stuff. Okay, so let's begin. I could have used a reference photo, but I thought let's build this ourselves. I might go into some detail with a pencil first. So I want the entrance to be on this side. So I'm just going to do sort of a curved door shape, and then a step going down, or step coming outside, and then a smaller then a smaller one just here. Then this doorway is going to have an archway going across. Then let's build some shrubbery just on the outside. So I'm just going to use the biro and just do some lines going across for like for a shrubbery shape. And I might do a tree branch coming up as well. Small little tree here. I know this is supposed to be a church drawing, but I'm just doing these just to give it a bit more detail. Just like so. Okay, so the cornerstones I'm just going to do first. So I'm going to just get a pencil and just outline where I want them to be. Now they're going to go from slightly long this side, short this side, and then on this side will be shorter, then longer. Just give it that solid structure. Just add some dashes just in the center. Okay, and then let's do the archway. So I want to do a keystone at the top. Then I'm just going to do some straight edges there, then just pivot my hand up. And this will come back down. Then I might just do a little sign on the side for like the surfaces and stuff. And maybe a light just on top. Maybe another light just on here, just for when it's dark. Just like so. And then this is going to be a double door, so I'm just going to do a line down the middle. And a round shape. And some slightly lighter lines going down. And small little crosses to indicate like a solid wooden structure with these iron knobs on it. I can't remember what you particularly call it. And then for the step outside, I do a small little handrail in here. It's good to have these little details in, just to give it a bit more depth. Handrail for people, signed so they can have a look and stuff, to make it a bit more realistic. Could just do the bare building, but it's a church, you know, it needs these little features. Okay, now let's do the roof. I'm going to finish these cornerstones and a few other things in time lapse, so I'm just doing the bare essentials at the moment. So for this corner section, I'm just going to do where the slates are linked together. Slight curve at the bottom, like so. Then going back down this side. And then this side will have the cornerstones as well. So again, you could use a ruler just so you keep that shape, a single straight line, should I say. But I like to just give it a little bit of rough structure, so each of these stones I'm just drawing hand drawn. Just going across there. And that bumpiness on this edge will give you that nice crisp edge and show you the structure of it. And this bottom edge, I'm just going to do just a few grass leaves and stuff. Just coming up there. Now for the top section, this top end of the steeple is going to have the cross, but this one I want to do like a weather vane. So I'm just going to do a line and going across, and maybe a circle on top. Okay, and then for the top part of the roof section, I'm just going to do these lines going across, just kind of join the slates together. And then for the actual slates themselves, I'm just going to do some straight lines going across to give me some guidance in pencil. Try and keep them equal across. You can maybe use a ruler to like pinpoint the distance between each one of them to make it accurate, but I'm just doing it freehand at the moment. Now the whole point of the slates is to keep the angle the same as the roof, and you can make these as big or as small as you want them. So for these top ones, I'm doing the vertical lines quite strong, or the slightly angled ones going down, and the bottom end of the slates I'm just wiggling a little bit to give that rough edge of the slate. Now it's good to do the top section first so you can overlap it on the bottom. Just like so. I'll finish that in time lapse in a moment. What else features could do? Need some windows, so I'm just going to have long skinny windows. So I'm just going to do a few vertical lines here. Remember, because this is the same surface going across, so keep the ruler the same angle. It's all about symmetry as well. And the top end of these windows, I'm just going to do small semicircles freehand. And I want to indent them as well to give it that depth effect. So there's another line on the side, just like so. Then I want to do a support stone at the bottom, and then this is going to have some stones going around it just to hold it into place. I'm doing these ones quite loosely, and then for the top section, like so. And then this is going to be, it's like cross hatched across. So I'm just going to do diagonal lines going up, right to the top, then coming back down to meet those lines on the other side. Just like so. And on the bottom section I'm doing the grassy verge. Now I might want to do a circular window at the top here, just letting a bit more light, kind of a completely dark. Back in the day when these were built, they were only lit by candles, and some of them were actually fancy ones that are lit by gas and stuff, but for the time being they're lit by candles and stuff. So I've done the circle here just freehand, and the small inner one just to show that depth. Then I'm just going to do sort of like a petal shape of a flower on the inside, like so. Might do another window here, but this one's slightly larger. Again, the support beam at the bottom. Then curl this around. Then again, I might do split this off into small sections. Then doing those lines across again, but stopping in those sections just to give it different frames of the window. Now this section is a little bit smaller than the one on the left, just because it's of the perspective. And then for the stones on the outside, because these will be like smooth sandstones perhaps, or I'm just doing the same what I did with the slats, which is just draw lines across, going around the windows and stuff. And then what I'll do is freehandly, I'm just doing a rectangle shape. Then one coming up just before that window. Don't try not to join it up, just because there's going to be a bit of mortar in between or cement, especially with the modern ones anyway. We want to kind of keep these bricks in different shapes and sizes and stuff. One going across there, one down there. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off the roof and the bricks on the side of the wall, just in time lapse, just because it's exactly the same pattern we've done before. Just remember to keep the vertical lines the same. If you did do a mistake, like for instance one of the slates might be across there, or maybe a mistake where the lines come down, just try and fill it back in. It could be like a slate falling off, and then you could just do a little black shadow in there. And then just try and keep this pattern going across, just like so. Okay, so now I've just finished off the slats and structures and stuff. You can see that I've made a mistake there where I put one a bit short, but I've just done outline that in black so it looks like it's slightly broken. You get the idea. Now let's do the steeple section. So again, I'm just going to do another one of those windows. It's good to do, not keep the windows all different, but maybe have a lot of them. Ones on this side, keep them the same. Maybe ones on the ones going across the same. So for these ones, just copy in what I did before, just by indenting the inside to give it that 3D look. Then do the lines going across for the slats, just like so. And then like a small little support frame around it. Now for the top end of the steeple here, I might just do a few little stone structures. So I'm just doing a few lines to give a support, and then I might just do a curled pattern, just like so, with a round ball on top. I'm not doing this with any photo reference or anything, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. But, it's good to make up your own buildings. I know I could copy some, but it's fun to design your own as well at the same time. Now the steeple is going to be exactly the same what the roof is, but just in a different shape. So I'm going to have those blocks on the side just to join the slates together. One on this centre bit. Just going up, keep these lines nice, long and vertical. Like so. And then, again with my pencil that I've just found, doing those lines across and keeping them the same on this side. Remember, keep the angle of the building the same, so just move your ruler across. Up like that. Like so, and then it'll be the same process of building up the slates. Actually, maybe let's do these ones a little bit smaller, so I might just do the lines that I've just drawn now, I might just do small ones in between. So you can see the texture of this roof a bit more. So begin the same process of just filling in the slates. Keep that angle the same and the bottom a little bit jagged. And then I'll build the rest of this in time lapse. And I'll have a cross on the top for the steeple. So just do lines going across. Now the angle of the building is like so. I'm going to mimic that with the cross. You want symmetry of angles, creates kind of a tranquility in your picture. If you have multiple angles at different stuff, and messes up the transition. If you have the same angles, it's smoother on the eye and you can see things a lot better. So I've just done the centre line there. Okay, what else features do you think we can add on here? We'll have the cornerstones on the church, like what I did before on the building, and then when it comes to the roof, we'll just join them up. Okay, maybe let's do a little grave here. So I'm just gonna do, it's gonna be slightly overgrown, so I'm just doing some grassy flicks there. We'll have a nice cross, how about that? So going across. Again, try and keep that same angle, just to create a bit of symmetry. And then do some lines for the 3D effect. And then the bottom section, I'm just doing the grass again, so it's just building up. You can even maybe do some flowers with a few petals. How about let's do some ivy growing up it. So for the ivy, I'm going to start at the top. I'm just going to do a spiky leaf shape, which has about 6 petals in it. And then, like the slates, I'm building up from the top down, so the top section will be overlapping. And some of these will branch off to the side, so there could be a bit more horizontal. And then just building these down. Maybe do a root coming up here. I remember one time when I looked at this barn, this main foundation stone at the bottom was cracked in half because the ivy was that strong. It looked like a tree was actually growing inside the actual structure, and it got to the point where the whole structure was actually held up by the wood inside the ivy, which I thought was pretty awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to finish the rest of this in time lapse, the steeple and the slates and stuff. Again, remember just to keep the angles the same going across. So the angle for this building, this building, this building, the slates, the cross, this cross. Keep those angles the same, it brings a nice symmetry. I know I've done this, the weather vane, this angle is a little bit different, but that's because it spins around, so that's allowed to. Okay, so I've just finished all of that in time lapse. Now for the final bit, it's looking a bit flat. There's not a variable between the lines and stuff. It's a good line drawing and stuff and all, but it's a bit flat. You can't tell where some things are. So I'm just going to darken some things and lighten some other stuff. So if I start off with maybe the slates, just on the top end of the slates, I'm just going to do some small dashes just with the pen. Just going across here to give a general shadow of the top one appear above the other. I'll do the rest of that in time lapse. Then for the windows, we could do a darkened shadow on this side. So the emphasis would be the light coming from this direction. So this section will be the darkest part. So I'm just darkening these windows and then just feathering it going down. Lifting off the pen as I come up. And do this equally for all the windows. So this one here. Then for the bottom one, go across. Feathering that down. A nice smooth transition. Then likewise on this window, the darkness is going to come from this side just because it's a different angle. Where is the darkness? This side. Okay. Now I want the grass, I want that to stick out a bit more, so I'm just going to do a darkened shadow just behind the grass. Just at the bottom here. This tree that I've drawn is not sticking out very well, so I'm just going to darken that one up. Make it pop out a bit more. These small shrubbery brushes that I drew. Lines, I'm just going to do a few lines at the bottom just to indicate a bit more detail. And for the door, I'm just going to do a few lines going down to give that shadow of the archway. Darken this line up. And then for the handrail, I want that to stick out more, so I'm just going to do the bottom line of the handrail. For the steps, I'm going to do a bit more detail, so I'm just do some dashes going across to give a bit more of a rougher surface. Don't want it to look too smooth. Shading on this window, same as this angle, so it's this edge. Now the darkened part of the slates, which you won't be able to see on, is on this side, so I'm coming in heavy with there. This side less, so it's a bit thinner line. Underneath the slates it's going to be quite dark, so just do some lines going across. Try not to do straight across, give it a bit of texture by going up and down and stuff. And then this end of the church, because it's actually tucked into the building, let's separate that. I'm just doing some gentle lines going up with the pen. I'm barely touching the paper here, I'm just feathering it upwards with very light lines. Very little pressure actually used. Okay, let's do a little bit of a shadow just on the top end of this church going across. Just like so. Then for these, the cross at the top, I could do a darkened shadow likewise to the window, just on this side there, and then similar on this cross here from the bottom up. And going across here, give it a bit more of a rougher surface. I'm just doing a few lines going down, a few dots here and there. And because I've done this roof with the darker side coming down here, I want to equal that shadow with this roof. Although some of it looks a bit rough now, I'll smooth it all out in time lapse in a moment. I'm just showing you the different areas I'm doing. For the designs I did at the top, this section is going to be darker. Just do a light cross there, and then on the inside, then we just mimic that all the way across. Here's where the symmetry comes in. Then these lines going up and down, then a bit more darkness. Because this shrubbery is very white, I'm just going to do some lines going up from behind it. You do a bit of shadow just on the bottom of the door, just feathering the lines up. Smooth it out in the end, coming up there. Maybe some around the windows. And because these slates on this side is on the edge, I'm just going to darken this edge up a bit. I want this line to pop out a bit more, so I'm just doing a few darkness on this edge. I'm going to keep the same on this side, so just lightly gently touching the pen with the biro. Keep that wobbly line just to give the structure of the bricks. Oh, this cross is white, so I want that to pop out a bit more, so I'm just going to darken the edges around it, the church. I can go quite fast, going across like a typewriter backwards and forwards. When it comes to these precise, slow it down. There's no rush. I don't want to look like it's actually coming from the cross. So I'm just doing a transition between the whole corner just to break it up a bit. Now I don't want to do these slates at the top all individual, but I will darken up a little bit. A few lines going up and down. You can't tell the lines I'm actually drawing, but I am just darkening the surface up a bit. Okay, I'll probably finish the rest of the shading just in time lapse, just so you won't be bored. So just the lines going up across here. Keep this section darker. You've just got to work between light and dark sections, just teasing the paper here and there. If you do make something too dark, you'll make the rest of it look lighter, and just work between that balance. Okay, so there we are. As you can see, I've just might zoom in just a little bit so you can see. So yeah, I've just filled in all those different edges as well. I might just go into pencil now just to even out some of the shading now that I've done it in biro. I'm not too worried about actually going over any of the edges because I'm just going to erase some of the lines that I don't want before. So I'm just going across, kind of just filling it all in grey to start off with. Even the bottom section of the grass. This isn't a very sharp pencil I'm using, I'm just lightly going across. I just want to even this all out a bit. Okay, now that I've just done that, I've just gone over the grey pencil, and now I'm just going to smooth it out with my finger. You can use a cloth if you wanted, just to, or a paper torsion, whatever you want to use. I'm just using my finger, just I find it easier, and I'm just smoothing out all those pencil lines that I've made, just going right across the picture. This is a nice transition between the biro and the pencil that I've done. Okay, now that I've done that, I can now just highlight some areas with an eraser. So for the top end of the church, here, maybe this side, just erasing the pencil lines, just to make it pop a bit more. Maybe on the door, just to make that highlight, and you can just go backwards and forwards and just highlight some areas you want highlighted. So maybe just a few lines across the slates. Keep this side a lot lighter. Maybe this edge as well. Maybe this cross, maybe have that nice and light. Maybe the steps. Maybe just do a line going across here. One across there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. It's a nice little church drawing, but yeah, I just did this with a biro and a pencil, so these are just fun little doodles to do. So there's no excuse if you can't buy expensive materials, because I'm using printer paper and a biro, and that's all you need. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back in another video quite soon. Goodbye.